the purpose of this 10-year rule?
Laurel wanted to bring this up because it's been an issue that's been bothering a lot of people. From inspection
to buying. How can this affect your future travel plans? Stick around. In today's video, we're going to give you all the details. What is this 10-year rule? This is a rule that RV parks have imposed, which means we're filming in 2023. If you have a 2013 or older RV, this could affect your travels.
And it will affect also your inspection, because we, as inspector, will put a limit. From our experience, yes, we do have enough work to put a limit on year of units. Also because of the campground rules that some people have that stops a certain 10 years in age.
So why is this rule imposed at some RV resorts? They want to protect their reputation.
You want to keep the riff-raff away.
Not everyone is going to maintain their RV like you and us. They're looking for a particular class of clientele. They want to make sure that when you're coming into their park, their clientele isn't upset with something that's, Calamity Jane coming in, or that could possibly break down at the park, need to be towed away, or somebody that might have to be evicted. They're protecting their reputation.
So I got to bring this in. Who out of you all people been to campground before? If not, believe me, that will happen to you. Do you remember the Clampett?
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Do you remember them coming into a campground and you're saying, holy God, I hope they don't park beside me?
Yikes.
That's what they try to protect. So it's hard for some people to understand the principle, and I know sometimes it's frustrating. We got customers calling us and say, well, we're looking at 2010 and 7 and 12 and
vintage can be nice, and you're going to remodel your vintage, and we hear these stories all the time. You still need to protect your butt. So if it's vintage and you're well maintaining it and it's looking good, then you just need to know the details up front. You need to check their websites to see what they require. If they have this 10-year rule, when you're calling to book your stay, you need to ask about the 10-year rule. And how can you protect yourself and avoid their rule? You could also send them a photo with a timestamp so they can see this picture is taken today, not 2 years ago.
So, by the way, we did some inspections. Let's say on 2004, for example, we did that in Fort Wayne last year. And it's because we sized the customer. And when he called us, he knew already how we were. This has been maintained. It's been inside a garage since it's born, except a couple of weeks in the summer when they went on vacation. It was immaculate. All right, we'll do it. But here's my point to you. We do not do them. We just had somebody who called us 2012. No, we can't do this. On top of it, we knew the story of the unit, so there's no physical way it's been outside, and I know without seeing it that it's going to be way too much work to justify the price of an inspection. On top of it, which Laurel has a big problem with this, on top of it, the woman was living into the unit we were going to go inspect, and it's now 12, 13 years old. It's been parked there. Her husband's been dead for a couple of years.
When you get to 8 and 10 years of age, you know you're already coming into some mechanical and some cosmetic issues. For someone who wants to make this into a project, that's great. Where are you taking your RV? Are you planning to travel with this RV, or do you plan to just have a piece of land that it sits on? That makes a difference too, so the 10-year rule isn't going to apply to you anyways. But for us as inspectors, we are going to tell you all the details, and there will be a lot of details.
You don't want to hear the details we find. So that's the problem. There's two problems. We have to charge so much. The older it is, we should charge more, which you're not going to accept. So it becomes, it's a double edge. We can't charge you what it should be worth, because we're going to spend way too much time on checking, inspecting, taking pictures, logging in every details that was going on. and then you are not happy because, wow, okay, well, I paid a lot of money for an inspection and now the unit is worthless. That's where I just got off the phone a couple of minutes ago with another customer. We were talking about prices, and that's the difference. Somebody will be 30% cheaper than us. Okay, well, they do probably half of what we do on top of it.
50% less.
So it becomes okay, well, why are you having an inspection? At this point, you know what? Just pick the unit. If you're going to park it on a lot somewhere, just wing it, bring it there, and just hope that everything will be fine. We have a different vision on that 10-year rule in terms of inspection and in terms of you being careful of what you're shopping for. 10 years will come quick. I personally recommend, if you're looking at a unit, try not to go more than 5-6 years. Once in a while, we got a good unit at 10, 11 years, once in a while. So it's also an investment. I know you're trying to save money and you try to go in a good path and say, all right, well, this 10-year rule won't apply to me because I'm buying the perfect unit.
But are you intending to resell it too? So that's the other thing. If you're planning to resell it, maybe somebody else is also going to consider that 10-year rule.
You're going to have the same problem when you want to resell your unit. So we got to keep this in mind. So that's why we needed to bring this topic up, because it is really a big topic. And lately, with all the RVs that are going to be available on the market, because a lot of people will get out of the RV lifestyle because now it's back to normal life and nobody searches to go camping. Be smart about your purchase. That's why we needed to bring this topic up.
If you enjoy our videos, we would love it if you'd hit subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and leave us a comment. If you don't know what to comment, just comment C4BO. We want you to be a part of our community. In the comments below, tell us, how do you feel about this 10-year rule? And also, if you have an older vintage RV, have you experienced this on the road, out there in the wild? And if so, tell us about your experience in the comments below. We want to hear from you.
How are the campgrounds responding to your old unit? Or did it even happen to you? That's the purpose of this video. We're trying to see where people are at. And I'm going to ask my wife, how do you personally feel about, as an inspector, and personally, as this 10-year-old rig that we have to inspect or that have to come into a campground? Where do you stand on that?
As an inspector, what happens is that cosmetically, because I'm on the inside mostly, so cosmetically everything is older, the smells are older, and yes, there are smells, and I don't care if the seller tells you my RV doesn't smell. Everybody has an odor in their family. Whether it's good or bad, your nose will tell.
Especially if it's been lived in for 7, 8, 5 years in a row, whatever. If they lived in it full time at one point.
And RVs aren't built like sticks and bricks. They're not as solid. So after 10 years going on the road or even just parked, you've been wearing and tearing and using it, and the walls aren't as sturdy, and the wallpaper isn't as sturdy, and the floors, and there's a lot of things that start to wear a little bit quicker, I feel, than a regular stick-built home. How do you feel about the 10-year rule if you see an older vintage unit coming into the RV park?
I'm not into the vintage stuff. I appreciate it when I see it. We have one right here on our site, on our resort. It's a 2012, and it's immaculate. It's nicer than the new ones. So that's where it's hard. But for us as an inspector, in general, quickly, if you call us and you say, all right, my rig is 11 years old, good luck, find somebody else. And it's not personal. It's experience, knowing what we're getting into. And like I said earlier before, I can't justify to charge you enough, and I can't say, okay, I understand what you're going through your budget. I get it. I understand the point. It's cheaper than the newer one. But for us, it becomes irrational. And for you, I hope you get the message that it also becomes a bad investment, maybe, depending on some brand. Hey, listen, there's cult out there of certain brand that people want for the next 30 years. That's different. But for us, there's no real logical, ethical reason to say that, oh yeah, we'll help you out, we'll inspect your 2007.
There's no end to
That
the
ain't gonna
issues that we will find in that used unit, even though the seller has told you how well they've maintained it and they can give you the logs of the maintenance, there's still going to be a lot, which could be a great project for you, but in our eyes as inspectors,
Find yourself a new inspector that just came out of school, that goes by the book, that is stressed to the hilt about doing his first inspection, that will go through those bars and code that he needs to go through, and he'll take 2 days to do your inspection. That will be your best bet. So at least you'll have a clue that, all right, well, he went through everything. For us, it's kind of a known situation that we don't want to get into. So that's why we just hope that you don't take it personally. I know not everybody can afford the unit that they would like to have, but that's our 2 cents in this situation. Hope you got something out of this.
so remember, and do never forget, it's not about the destination.
It's
It's all about the journey.